to pay more attention to content and to grammar. I know that Carl's was a tough presentation. He brought in a lot of concepts. If you haven't studied postmodern theorists, probably some of it went right over your head. I noticed that quite a few people had looked at the online, YouTube that we put online, so that is a resource that's up there every week if you happen to just like phase out for a few minutes. And you can always go back and look at what has been said by looking online. So also, Johanna, the TA, and I are willing to help anytime you want to come and see us and work on various aspects of your writing. After receiving 2 or 3 of these, and if you're still getting check minuses, then you should come and see us to help improve your writing. Also, 2 credit students. It is not that far from spring break, so I should be seeing you pretty soon with a list of what sources that you have found so far, and more about the take that you're going to have on the presentation that you're going to be making. Okay. Today we have with us Michelle Lees, who is a good friend of mine and the mother of 3 adorable little children that I get the opportunity to take care of sometimes. And she's also a URI grad in mathematics. She had a long career before becoming a mom, which I've asked her to talk a little bit about today because I know you probably get all kinds of information about careers, but not very much discussion about how to integrate a family with a career, or how to have a career and opt out for a little while and then go back, or keep active while you're having a family. So that is also a topic that we're going to talk about today, although you should be talking about, in your summaries, her business. So not the whole spiel about the personal history of Michelle. All right, so but feel free to ask a lot of questions at the end about her pop-up sale that she does right now, which is called My Best Friend's Closet. It is in its 4th iteration? 3rd year. So she's done one in fall and spring. And so we have a little history under our belt now for how this operates. So that's what she's going to be talking about today as far as relates to fashion in the digital age. So Michelle.
Hi, how are you? Good. Well, I hope you're not zoning out on this lesson because nothing is going to be above your head. And I hope you'll find it interesting and engaging because you guys probably are even more of an expert on a lot of this than I am. This class, Dr. Welter asked me to come and talk to you about, because really this whole concept for business model really would be impossible without the use of digital technology. I think I calculated the hours last night. Without using our computer system, it would take 5 days, at least 8 to 10 hours a day, to be able to put together a store. So this would all be impossible to achieve in a 4-day sale. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is, for starters, a little bit about my background in history. Then how I came up with this business model and the concepts, how I put it together, how I run it, and then at the end I'll leave a little bit of time for Q&A for you guys. For starters, for my background, I was sitting in your shoes a few years ago. I was a URI grad as well. I studied math here, and I thought that's what I wanted to be. What I wanted to be was an actuary. So while I was here, I took the opportunity to do internships, which I cannot recommend more highly for you. During my time here, in the fall, the summer, and I did a spring internship, I spent a little bit of time doing what I thought I wanted to do. And as it turned out, I didn't like it at all. I spent 4 years studying a subject that I was going to have to sit in the back of my computer for 10 or 12 hours a day and not get excited about. And that is when I realized it's not what I wanted to do. You guys have much more of an opportunity because your field has so many options for what you want to do when you graduate. So use this time wisely to really go and do internships in the fields that you want to do or what you think, and find out if it's truly something that you're passionate about or excited about, because you may be surprised too, and then you're not wasting the time upon graduation. Okay, so going back, my senior year, again, I decided, oh boy, now what am I going to do? Which many of you might be in. So I said, you know, I've always been working in retail stores my whole life. I'm really passionate about it. I'm excited about it. Let me go out and give this a shot. So I went to New York and I spent my fall semester. It wasn't a specific internship that URI offered, but I went out and found it. And URI allowed me to do that. I spent my fall semester working for Saks Fifth Avenue in the city of New York. I loved it. It was great. I worked in the store. I learned about how the retail operation worked. And I found it was something I was passionate about. I loved it. And that is my biggest words of encouragement for you guys. Find something you are passionate about. You are going to be working a lot of hours. You're going to be paying your dues. You might as well do something that you love and you're excited about, because the people that are spending the hours there, logging the time and doing what they like to do are the people that are going to be successful. So they, after my internship closed, they offered me a position in their executive training program, which started in the fall, which is where I started my retail career. I spent a few years there working my way up at Saks Fifth Avenue, and which was a great opportunity. I was able to go to fashion shows from fancy designers, go to every showroom in New York. It was great. I loved it. But you really are only buying from designers then. And I decided, I don't know if I love this that much, but I want to see how products made from people. So I took an opportunity to work for Target. And I worked for Target out in San Francisco for about 5 years. And that was an opportunity not just to buy off other people's lines, but to learn, how do I make product for people? What is the process that goes into it? And then after a while, I really enjoyed that as well, and that was on a big, major platform. I thought, I want to grow a business now. I've worked for big, mature companies. I want to grow a business. So I ended up taking a job for Pottery Barn with a new emerging business called Pottery Barn Kids. And we grew that business from, at that time it had 5 stores, to up to 75 stores, to really get an understanding, what is it like to grow a business? What is it like to be able to have a little bit more freedom with a small scale? So those were really great, fun experiences for me. And then I decided I was actually a little burnt out. I started right after college. I didn't even take a week off before I started my job. I'd been working for a long time in cities, very long hours, and I decided, you know, I think I need to take a little bit of a break and figure out what I want to do next. So I quit my job and I spent a year traveling around the world. I spent a few months in every continent and kind of learned what, you know, to kind of refresh the batteries, if you will, which I loved. When I came home, I ended up more or less starting a consulting business, working for local retailers, which was great, and giving them an idea of how they should buy product and what products they should buy. So that's generally my background. At that point, I met my husband, my future to-be husband, and now I'm a stay-at-home mom. I have 3 small children, and like many women, which you will probably face in your life, you'll have to make a decision. Do I continue on my career path? Do I stay home with my children? What do I do? And there isn't a clear answer, and you don't have to worry about that luckily yet. You can worry about that later. But for me, I opted to stay home with my children. But it didn't quite fulfill me entirely. From being in a long career-focused mindset for so long, you know, I didn't really want to sit around and change diapers every day. I had more to give, and I wanted to give it, but I also wanted to stay home with my children, which is really important. So that's what brought me to this, which is I launched a business called My Best Friend's Closet Consignment. And this was a great opportunity to test, really, starting a new business, you know, pushing and being able to do something new and different, but still predominantly being able to spend the time home with my children. This has been a fabulous learning for me and a great addition to my career because I think I really learned about starting a small business versus working for very mature businesses. So I'll dive into this, but I guess I just want to summarize from my experience, and you guys sitting in your chair about to start from your life, you are going to get advice from so many people about what to do. And this will be the first time in your life that you maybe are making your own decision as to what to do with your future. And it may be the first decision you have made about your future so far. So I can tell you from my experience, what has been best for me is following your passion. Follow what you love to do. You know, two things that come to mind to me is I had 5 offers when I started work. And I took the lowest paying salary, which was Saks Fifth Avenue. The salary offer, other salary offers that I got were 50% higher than I got at Saks. But I followed my passion. And it turns out that was the best experience I could have ever gotten now that I could look at a big world. Okay? So follow your passions when you're making your decisions here, because or I was going to say the other thing I did is make sure you're the first one in the office and you're the last one to leave. Okay? These are really important things for you to follow because these are the things that people notice. Okay? So those are the 2 parting words I give you. And the only way you're going to want to be the first one in the office and the last one to leave is because you're doing something you love. And that is what I did and worked for me. And by being the first person in the office, by showing I was passionate about it, by being a hard worker, I was promoted every single year of my career. Those are the things that are going to get you ahead in this world. People want hard worker, passionate people, people that are motivated, and the only way that you're going to be recognized is by going into a career that you love and by putting the hard work in. So get prepared to do that and do what you love when you leave, okay? Make this about what you want to do, not what everybody else thinks you should do, because that is going to be your success. Anyhow, so long story short there. Anyhow, so I created this business. It's called My Best Friend's Closet Consignment. I came up with this idea because I had actually gone to a kids sale once. As I told you, I have 3 small kids. And with kids stuff, you're always in and out all the time, and you always have a bunch of clutter around your house, and you always want to get rid of it. So I went to one of these sales and I thought, this would be a great idea for women because women love to change their fashion in the same way that kids do. And what I found is there was a little niche in my closet. I had the things in my closet that I was happily would love to get rid of and send to Salvation Army, no problem. And then I had the things I love, and then I had a bunch of stuff in sort of the middle tier. Kind of too expensive to get rid of and just give to Salvation Army, but a little too much work to go to a consignment store, and it still had value. Just because I might wear it, I'm not sure how I feel. So I thought, what do I do with all of this stuff in my closet? I took it to my stuff personally to a consignment store and was disappointed that when I brought all my stuff, only about 1/4 of it sold. And I knew that more of it would sell, and I got a small return. So that is how I came up with the sale. So I ended up deciding to do the sale once in the fall and once in the spring. And the concept is I would try to solicit 100 different consigners. They would sign up to consign at the sale. They would put their inventory in, prepare their inventory. They would drop it off at the sale, and I would sell it. They don't have to be there. They don't have to do anything beyond prepare their items. And I'll go through the whole process in a few minutes. But we would offer the sale for 4 consecutive days and try to drive customers in. The problem with traditional consignment stores is the fact that there's no sense of urgency going to the store. Maybe I'll get a chance, maybe I won't. But if you only offer this shop once a season and you offer it for 4 days, then people will come and they'll have to come. So by offering it once in the fall season, once in the spring time, 4 days, you try to get everybody in at once, okay? So then it came down to, okay, well, if I want to get all of this done, and I want to get consigners, how am I going to work it? And as you guys, I'm sure, realize, we can generate up to 5,000 items in each sale. It is impossible to sit and hand tag every single item going into the store, not to mention reconciling what is sold throughout the period. So, and then of course, what do you do with the rest of the inventory? So these are all things that you have to process to kind of figure out how to work on your business model, okay? So the first step that I did was try to figure out what categories I wanted to sell, okay? Because there's a lot of categories you could go after. Obviously, there's a lot of different types of stores. I decided, since I was a woman, and that was what most of my experience is, I wanted to do women's clothing. Because I think, in general, women were shoppers, women turned their clothing pretty quickly, and women would do the work, frankly. There are similar concepts for men, but a lot of men aren't willing to actually do the work. So that is how I kind of nailed it into the women, not to mention women demographics spend more in general on clothing. So I thought, that's a winning strategy. Then I thought, where should I have the sale? Because that's important as well. So I ended up deciding to have it on Aquidneck Island. I live in Newport, and that would be convenient to me. Aquidneck Island has about 50,000 people that live on the island. It's a higher general income demographic. So it's an opportunity where you have the right client base as well as the right product, because you need to make sure that you have the right product. I didn't really talk about that as much, but you also want to kind of think about, what do you want to cater your shop or your sale to, in my case. And I decided I wanted to do only designer quality items. And a lot of people don't do that. You know, you could do budget brands, you could do mass brands. I wanted to keep it at least a designer above, which gives an opportunity for nice quality items, and people aren't having to, like, you know, go through a bunch of crap to find what they want. So anyhow, so all of this seems pretty overwhelming when you start it. You think, oh my God, I have to think of this concept, I have to think of how to get the inventory, I have to think about where to have it, how to make it happen. And one thing I can recommend to you, which works for me, is when you go after something, make a list. Tackle item by item. I made a list. I think I had in my first list about 100 items of things that I had to do or think about or research. And many people would say, oh my God, that's overwhelming, and just step back. And what I recommend to you, which would be similar to lots of things that you start, is just tackle item by item. You know, every day tackle an item on a business and on your list, and try to research it to the best way you can. So some of the things for me that came up when I was doing the list is creating a website. Okay, you can't be in business today, obviously, without a website. So there's lots of opportunities to create websites. There are websites hosted by, obviously, everyone you can possibly imagine. You can hire someone to do your website. They even have great new sites where you know, a graphic artist will design your, I think it's called Fiverr, where actually for $5 someone can create your whole website. It's pretty amazing. A graphic design student from a college around the country. I decided, since I wanted to keep it within my budget plan, I created my own website. So I went onto Yahoo and created the whole, you can kind of look at your template and put it together, because I probably down the line will invest in this, but you have to kind of make a decision in the beginning. What are the things you really want to invest in? What are the things that are really going to make a big difference to you in overall sales? This was something I did not feel I really wanted to invest in. I wanted to invest more in the advertising portion we're going to go off with next. But what is really critical on the website is you want people to be able to get a quick idea of what your business is. Because a lot of people will sit and they'll look through and kind of research everything, and that makes one less step for you to have to talk to everybody about. So this was the idea of the website, and you can see overall, I really focused on the green aspect because it's important with the trends right now, and it's the renew, refresh, recycle your gently used new items. Was a great opportunity to really mesh with the green trend and really drive that business. So then the next question is, the way the model for this I came up with is, it's a 4-day sale. People sign up in advance to consign, and I'll show you first. They're going to enter their inventory, and then they select a drop-off time in the morning, on Thursday morning, the weekend before the sale. Between 10 and 4, everybody drops off their product during the day. So between that 10 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the evening, depending on how many items go into the system, in the last sale we had over 5,500 items. So 5,500 items come into the room, and we have to make a shop with them. Okay? So, so then you think, how do I get 5,500 items in here for them all to look uniform? And so it looks like a shop, because you don't want to have the time to spend the time to reformat all of the inventory that's coming in. You want to make sure it looks consistent, because it's your shop and you want people to have a good shopping experience. So that's where you really had to work on. The solution I came up, which was affordable, was everything needed to come on wire hangers. Okay? Obviously, the least attractive of all of the choices, but at least as a shopper, when you come through, the whole shop would look consistent. And each category, I ended up doing clothing, jewelry, shoes, handbags, and accessories. Each category was detailed in terms of how to hang them and how to prepare the tickets on each one to make sure that it's consistent and it looks good. Okay? We talked a little bit about the location. This is really important too, because as you can imagine, starting a new business, will I have 100 items in the system? Will I have 1,000 items in the system? Will I have 4,000? I don't know. So you may book a space that has maybe 3,000 square feet, and you fill just a little teeny portion. Or you may have a small room, and you can't fit everything in. So you have to make some judgment calls in terms of how you're going to lay out the racks, and I'll show you the thought process that I went through with that as well. So my first choice is I ended up, my first time, selecting a space with about 1,000 square feet, which is fairly typical of a small store. And within the first 3 sales, I grossly overcame it. I mean, it was just too difficult to shop because people were having a hard time getting through the product. There wasn't enough room to try on. It wasn't a very compelling. So this last sale, I doubled the square footage in the sale, and it was a much more pleasant shopping experience overall. So I was really happy with that. Let me click through. So I'm going to show you 3 more. Again, this is just jumping back. The sales inflow is really important. Kind of talking about the brands that we carry, and then I also, the last sale, expanded into home decor. So I wanted to be very clear about the categories that we covered so that we weren't getting anything that, that did not hit our quality standards, and the same with brands as well. We want people to spend the time in advance because I don't want to have to kick product out when it gets there. And the same thing here. This is really a descriptive guide as to how to tag all of your items. And again, I just want to emphasize, all of this would not be possible without the digital technology. And this is how things are evolving again. Each one of these descriptions, if I had to have it with 100, 120 consigners every single time, it would be difficult. So this is one great opportunity how you can really sell and explain your concept to everybody, which is great. Okay, so next comes, how do I tag all this stuff? Is it consistent? I don't really, there's no way I can set all of this up and be able to send consignor checks in a week, which is what I promise, okay? So then I have to go through and research, how do I figure out, is there a company that does this for me? Because I'm not a computer programmer, I don't understand how to do this. So sure enough, I found a company who actually has a system overall. And what they do is they offer you pay for the system for each of your sales. And it basically pays for a database, which is great. So this is the field after you log in as a consignor, this is the field of what you'll see in the computer system with your items, okay? So I ask each consignor to go in and put their item. So you put your item in the description, brand name, for example, and the description of your item. On the drop down, you put your category, and we have 50 categories to choose from. The customer chooses the price, which is great and different than most consignment stores. So the fun thing about the sale is 99 consignors are picking their prices. Some person considers their 7 jeans worth $10. Some people consider their 7 jeans worth $9. We've had 2 Lilly Pulitzer dresses right next to each other, one for 10, one for 70. So that's the fun of the shopping aspect, is you're competing against consignors. When you're going into consignment store, you're only competing with the price of one person pricing it. So it's kind of a fun model to go through. The other thing that we do is the sale format, as I talked about, sorry, I jumped around, is 4 days. So Thursday morning, between 10 and 4, people are dropping off their items. On Thursday night, between 4 and 5, we flip the shop and set it up in 1 hour, and we are open from 5 to 8 to consigners. One perk we thought is every consigner wants to sell some of their stuff and get a lot of great new stuff. So they have the opportunity to come and shop before it's open to the public. So from 5 to 8, you come, have a few chocolates, have a drink, shop a little bit before it's open to the public, and try in your fitting room, and it's a little bit more leisure. And it's also a way to incentivize the consigner. A lot of people just consign because they want to pre-shop, because who doesn't want to shop 5,000 items before they're open to public? And that's the chance for the person that does put the $10 UGG boots or the $5 Tory Burch loafers. That's where you're going to get those great deals. So a lot of people sign up to consign just so that they go to the pre-shop. And so anyhow, so that's the first Thursday night. We're open to the public on Friday and Saturday, and then Sunday I decided we're going to have a lot of inventory. And if things haven't sold in the first 3 days, maybe a lot of budget shoppers will come on Sunday if we offer 50 off. So I market the Sunday as sale day, which is the 50 off day. And I let the consigners decide if they want a discount or not. So if you press discount on the first, if you select discount on your item, then on Sunday it'll be 50 off. And we sell actually just as many units on Sunday as the other 3 days combined. Okay, because people really want a good value. But you also can select to not discount your item, and it will be full price every day. Now, the second thing that I wanted to do is I wanted some sort of philanthropic angle with it as well. And that is something that I'll be working on the next sale as well. But the next field that people can select is whether to donate their item or not. If you select donate, your item after the sale, if it does not sell, will be donated to a local charity. So far, we've used Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and all of the proceeds go directly back to them. The next sale, I'm going to be working on some exciting things to really keep it local and really kind of feel your donations working. So that will be coming for the next sale. Anyhow, so what will happen is each of your items, you'll individually put your items in as a consigner, and you could click on the top, manage your inventory, you'll see all of your items. And then each consigner at the end, then, utilizing this system, will create their own tags. And the beauty of this is the tags themselves have a barcode on them. And based on this software, every single sale, just like a typical sale at a cash register, I scan the barcode when everything is sold. And at the end of the night of the first sale, I will upload the sale file into the system, and each consigner can go in and see what's sold. And they can also look at how much they're getting. So it's a really fun, quick way, and it's exciting in 3 days. You don't have to wait 3 or 4 months for a consignment store to sell your product. You go shopping on Thursday, and then you come, in the evening when I send out the email with your information. It's kind of fun. It's like, ooh, I can't wait to see what I sold. And each night you can go look, and you'll be able to see what items sold, how much they sold for, and how much your take is. Now, if you think of what this is, I sold on the last sale about 2,700 items in 3 days. And if you think about it, for me to actually manually go through each of those tags, if I did not have this sort of system, it would be impossible.